You fixed the garage or something?
Yeah, I fixed the garage.
What the?
Finally, we get to take the boat out of the garage. I'm just kidding, we're taking the John boat out. Welcome back, guys. It's a beautiful day, but we are still being quarantined. It's great, it's sick. Our governor requested that a good social distancing activity was to go fishing. I thought that was pretty dope. And they paid to stock all our rivers with trout just so people could go fishing.
Yep.
But we're not going trout fishing. We're gonna go bass fishing today. We're gonna go try and catch some swanches, as Caleb Lecter says. And you know, your boys, we've been locked in the house for way too long. We're going nuts. Not to mention, a wonderful thing happened this week for me and Chubb. What happened this week?
We got laid off!
We got laid off, so we're currently unemployed. What do you do with the shovel? Oh yeah, we got a big hole in our driveway.
Now we gotta fix it. Ow.
Okay, yeah, we'll fix this later. It's time to go fishing.
That's what I'm saying, like now that I know it'll break apart.
Yeah, okay. Right. Anyways, it's getting to that point where, you know, fish should be hitting now. The bass should be fat. They should be trying to feed because in about the next month or so, they will be spawning. Today, we're gonna try and get on some early spring pre-spawn, fat, chunky donkeys. Boom, 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 boom. You know what's funny? It's taking 6 rods or 7 rods in this little, what might not even be 12-foot John boat. Is interesting. Who thinks that's a sketchy idea? So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna send it up. Today's all about just having fun, guys, and just throwing jokes around. I mean, we're joking, but we're not. Like, we actually are unemployed and stuff right now, which really does suck. Because the bills gotta be paid and stuff, but you know what? We're not the only one in America, or actually all over the world, that's hurting right now. So, all jokes aside, we're gonna go have some fun, catch some fish, spend some quality time with my cousin.
What's going on, everybody? We're gonna get some swanches.
Hey, you got something in your nose. Let me get it for you. Let me get it. We made it. The boys, we outside. It's a bluebird day. All right, baby, we made it. We got the John boat that I built a while ago, ready to go. You guys are always asking about the John boat and if I still have it. I've been getting comments recently to see if I still use it or if I sold it or what. No, I use it every chance that I get. I actually love this thing. It's still kicking away and doing good. So we're gonna take it out on this here pondish lake. And it's cold, actually. It's about 46 degrees. We're gonna see if we can get on some spring bass. We'll show you guys what we're doing as soon as we dial in these fish. And what do you think? What's the output for the day?
Fish.
Yeah, we're just gonna go fishing. It doesn't matter. You never call it how we see it, because then you just whatever. I think we're gonna head down to that end of the lake because I think the wind's gonna blow us this way. Switch over to the GoPro. I am gonna start with a craw. We're gonna kind of flip the shore. My cousin's gonna go a little finesse. He's gonna fish a shaky head. We're gonna start finesse. If we start picking up fish, cool. If not, then I'm gonna move a little bit farther out in the water column. I'm gonna throw jerk baits. Pop, pop, pause. Anything that kind of imitates natural forage right now is probably gonna be the move, is what I'm thinking. So start with a craw just because it's cold and it's been cold. Yeah? Is that how you feel, ducks? But shad imitations, craw imitations should do the job for us today, is what I'm thinking. And they should be coming up shallow to eat shad.
Far from the shallow now.
Part of me wants to throw a jerk bait. I don't know. I'm gonna do it. Let's pick up jerk bait and I mean, if we're both, you're fishing the bottom already. I want to see what happens. I do really good with jerk baits sometimes in the spring, depending where I'm at. So we got this new Guggen jerk bait. Let's give her a whirl. The weeds are thick. She thick. Oh, that's good. It's a good fish. It's a good fish. Okay. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Get him.
What? I'll bring him to you. Oh, God, get him! Oh, get his mouth. Dude, that's what we come out here for, baby. That's a 4-pounder right there. You see that right there, guys? That right there, probably close to 5, wouldn't you say? 4? About at least 4. I felt it bump over that stump right there and just crank. First bass of 2020. He's a freaking stud. Look at that right there, guys. 4-pounder all day, big old belly, eating shad. That's what I like to see. I don't have a scale, but I would guess about 4 pounds. Let's see. That's what we come out here to do, baby. Okay, baby. Man, that's just a good feeling, man. Shallow, right? Bounced it off that log. I felt it bite, but I wasn't like 100%. And then I felt it, I was like, yeah, he's just lethargic. Like, it's a good feeling. Oh, for sure, but it's just funny, man. For me, like, I can't sit still flipping a jig. Like, I have to be like fishing some kind of moving bait or something. I didn't bring any spinner baits because I wanted to commit to like flipping jigs, because there probably is a lot of fish to be caught right now with a jig. If I just popped that guy off a log and he came and crushed it. Oop. Another big one, another big one. No, he's not big, he's not big. He just cranked it super hard. Try the lipless crank.
I don't want to try something new on this.
Don't. There you go, baby. I'm pumped, man. It's good to be back.
Still a fish.
You are? All right.
You tried to get away and he got.
Oh, he got. That was a catastrophe, but he got one.
Little baby one.
Told you, man.
Baby bass.
The shad imitation, that's where it's at. All right, boys hit a little bite window, huh? Yeah, they're brand new that they put. There's fish. That's another donkey. Okay, that's a big donkey. He's barely hooked. He's barely hooked. Yay! I got him. I got him. Oh, come on, come on. Oh, I'm so happy.
Fish number 4, boys.
Donkey on donkey on donkey on donkey. But we like, boys. We're out here catching the freaking tanks. I wish we had a scale just to see how much he's weighed, but. Oh, baby, I feel good. After a stressful week, you know. Did you just cast it off?
No, but like, it didn't get nearly as far as I thought it was gonna get, and now I'm right up.
We're gonna get blown right back into it anyways. All that talking I did to you, that's for sure a goner. Watch this, right? That's not good.
And it snapped off right in front of your face.
Ooh.
Yo.
I think that's all she wrote. Getting a little chilly. So instead of doing an outro on the lake, I figured I'd actually sit down with you guys and go over exactly what I did and the baits that I was using, the gear that I was using. A lot of times in the videos I actually talk about doing that, and then I never end up doing it, and I get all kind of comments down below like, hey, can you link the bait in the bio, etc. So I'm gonna show you guys exactly what I did, exactly what I used, where I buy my products at, and everything right here, right now, just in case you guys are like me, you're from the Midwest, and you wanna get out and do the exact same thing I did here today. Now the funny thing is, what I did in the video wasn't actually correct, but at the end of the day, it does not matter. I do know what I'm talking about, I promise you. So I'm gonna explain it to you correctly right here, right now. But I do want you to know that the most important part about fishing, or the most important thing that goes down when it comes to fishing is that you physically just get out there and do it. Never let anybody convince you that you're not gonna catch fish because you don't have the nicest rod and reel on the market or the correct one. None of that stuff matters. I always preach, guys, we're here to get you guys fishing. I make videos to get you fishing. So I wanna help you, point you in the right direction, but if you don't have the stuff that I have right here in front of me, who cares? Does not matter. With that being said, we're gonna go ahead and look at the baits we were using first. The bait that I caught all my fish on was this right here. This is a chatterbait tipped with a paddle tail swim bait. And the chatterbait that I like to use is the Z-Man chatterbait. I get all my baits at Carl's Bait and Tackle. There's a link in my description below. There are a lot of chatterbaits on the market. This is one of my favorites that's, in that range where it works good and it's not super expensive, because there are some expensive baits out there. You can get this guy for roughly around $4, and yeah, so you get that. And what I like to do is I like to, just tip it with a paddle tail swim bait. Doesn't matter what brand or which one you get, just go ahead and get yourself a little paddle tail. I like to color match them. You guys can change it up. You can throw a chartreuse one on here if you really wanted to. You could throw a shad colored one. Personally, I like to go all white. That's just what I feel confident doing, and that's exactly what I did. What I was doing here was I was finding thick cover. I was finding down trees, down logs, brush. This time of year, these bass like to go up there, they like to eat, and they like to just migrate to that brush. They like to get shallow, and the reason they like to do that is because this time of year, they're getting ready to scout for where they're going to spawn. Not only are they scouting for where they're gonna spawn, but they're going to be eating, bait fish. The reason they're eating bait fish this time of year is, one, obviously to stock up so that they can get fat for the spawn, but shad are migrating to the creeks this time of year. So any lake that has a creek or any pond that has a nice creek runoff or just anything like that, you're gonna get migrating bait fish right now. And those migrating bait fish are gonna go shallow. So I was fishing shallow, and what I was doing with this is I was casting it into the shore and I was just pounding those down logs. If you watched the one fish that I did catch, you can see me pop it over a log, and that right after I got over that log, that's when it bit. I set that hook. So what I like to do is I like to get this guy right in there, let it sink down a little bit, and just bonk it on and off of any kind of cover that I possibly can. And yeah, that's really about it. So if you guys don't know what this is, maybe you've never used one before, whether you're an expert fisherman or you're a beginner, this is a really easy bait to use. There's a lot of cool ways that you can modify it and a lot of different ways that you can fish it. But for the most part, if you can get out there, you can just cast it and reel it in, and I'm sure you'll catch a fish. It's not too hard to fish. It's not something crazy you need to learn how to fish, but it is definitely something, if you don't have it already, that you need to add to your tackle box. And then my cousin, he caught a fish. Unfortunately, he only caught one, but this is another great go-to that I just tend to go to in the springtime, and that is a jerk bait. Now, this right here is the new Guggen baits. I believe this is called a Scout. I got this in one of my mystery tackle boxes, and I just wanted to try it out. I will admit, it is a sweet jerk bait. This is a 4 to 6 foot diving jerk bait, and guys, if you don't know how a jerk bait works or what the purpose of this is it's a slow suspending shad imitation or bait fish imitation where you kind of pop and then pause, and it'll pop down, and then it'll just slowly go like this, and then pop and slowly go like this. So it'll slowly suspend. And the reason that this bait is so good for this time of year is not only does it mimic bait fish, but it's one of those baits that just hangs out in the water column a lot longer. So when you're, fishing colder water like you are right now, fish might often become lethargic, or they just, have a little bit of a delay in their feeding. This is a great lure that really just keeps your bait in the strike zone just a little bit longer. So you pop, and it sits there, and they'll have that reaction time on the pause. And you can be pretty successful in the spring and the fall with one of these guys right here. With that being said, I'll quickly talk about the gear. I'm not gonna go hard into detail because we didn't really fish the correct way with the gear that I had. So this rod right here is actually a medium action 7'1". This rod I wouldn't fish in particular with jerk baits. I really didn't choose any of these setups to fish particularly for the baits today. Honestly, guys, I'm fishing on like a 10.5 foot John boat, so I brought the equipment that was most logical. So for today, I was fishing lighter and shorter rods just because it makes it easier. Trying to have like a 7'6" or, long heavy duty rods that take up a lot of space on that boat, or when I'm bringing a fish next to the boat to try and grab it, the more length I have, the more difficult it is for me. So personally, I would like a 7'6" medium, fast action rod when it comes to fishing jerk baits. I really like to feel that bait, and I really like a stiff rod that's long that I can make a far cast and I can get a good pop, pop, pause. I also want a long rod when it comes to fishing jerk baits, just because a lot of times you do get fish on that pause and you really want, you know, a nice long rod to set that hook, pick up that slack, set that hook. The reel that I would recommend you guys to use, say when it comes to fishing this jerk bait, would be like a 7-to-1 or a like 7-to-4 gear ratio bait caster. The reason I say that is, again guys, you're gonna have a lot of pop, pop, pause. You're gonna have a lot of slack in that line. Having that fast gear ratio is really gonna help you get a better hook set, so long as you can pick up that slack in a fast amount of time, and bam, you'll get that hook set, you're golden. So that's what I'd like to fish. So again, this is a little bit shorter of a rod, and yeah, I mean, that's just what it was because we're fishing on a jumbo. So the rod that I used for the chatterbait is actually a medium action 6'8", I believe this is. It's a little bit shorter, and this rod I really love. It's a very, very light rod, but what's really cool about having like a medium rod for a chatterbait is the fact that you can really feel the vibrations. You want something sensitive so you can really feel that bait doing its thing in the water. You have a lot of vibration when it comes to one of these rods, so sometimes it's hard to, you know, feel like you got a bite from a fish if you're fishing a really heavy duty rod. So the more sensitive the better for me. That's just what I like personally. I was fishing a 7-to-1 gear ratio reel today as well. I would recommend going something a little bit slower. Ideally for this time of year, I think like a 6-to-3, maybe a little bit lower or slower reel is a good choice. That's only because you don't want to be burning these baits. You know, these fish are still a little bit lethargic. It is spring, the water temperatures are still cold. So ideally that's what I would pick. So I know that might have been kind of confusing because, like I said, I really didn't follow any rule. I just fished when I wanted to fish because I've been locked inside. I wanted to get out and fish. I didn't put that much thought into the rods that I was using. I also use it as a demonstration to show you guys that it really doesn't matter the gear that you're fishing. So long as you know what you're doing, you can dial in your own gear to your own baits. Don't be discouraged because you don't have the best equipment on the market. I don't care if you had a push button today, you can still throw a chatterbait on there and catch some fish. When it came to dialing in fish, I know at the beginning I said I was gonna fish, you know, craws and stuff like that, but I wasn't feeling confident doing that. I'm sure we could have picked some fish off doing that. The fact that I had so much water to cover in such a little time was why, you know, distinctively I kind of just said, hey, I'm gonna put down the jigs and I'm gonna pick up some moving baits. Both these baits allowed me to cover a lot of water, and they also allowed me to catch fish. So whether these baits were the correct thing to use today or not, they definitely worked. So go ahead, grab yourself a chatterbait, grab a jerkbait. I'll do you guys a favor, I'll leave them down in the description below just so you guys can check them out. And hey, at the end of the day, I hope everybody's doing great. I hope everybody's healthy and in good health right now with everything that's going on. Do me a favor, if you guys are new here, hit that subscribe button, drop a like on this video if you like the content. If you don't follow me already, go over to Instagram, shoot me a follow. You guys are gonna see a lot of exclusive content that you don't see here on YouTube on Instagram. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I'm Jordan from TightlineTV, and we'll catch you in the next one.